Quan.
Good afternoon.
I am Vita Harley Bridges coming to you today from the Vita TV show.
Yes.
Just want to ask you a few questions, Brother Quan.
Yes.
The first question I want to ask you is, what do you think could happen that could help the world be a better place? Next question is, what do you think you can do personally to make the world a better place? And then, what do you think other people can do to make the world a better place?
Well, the answer to the first question is love. Love is the only thing that can make anything better. And so, on a global scale, when we talk about the world itself, I'm just hands down convinced that it takes more love, you know, uh, as an individual and as a collective. And so that is what I'm doing. I'm trying to, and not just trying. I sometimes hate to use that word. Um, because we have to do more than actually trying. And so I'm actually doing more loving, I would say, in my life because I'm making a conscious effort to do so and spreading that love more easily in my community, for example, because I'm a service provider in my community. I provide a program that helps young people in particular, but anyone in general, how to be better decision makers using the game of chess. And so I would even go so far as to say, we can use this game, or I'm in fact using this game to spread more love in the community and using it as an instrument of love, which is somewhat ironic because the game of chess is a game of war. But the way we use it more for the game being the thinking game, more so than a game of war, and in attempts to extract from the game of chess the ability to make people think more strategically, more tactically, and then thus become better decision makers. So we're using chess to spread more love. We don't mind hugging people either, though. But chess gets the word out.
Okay. So, what do you think other people can do?
They can learn to play and teach. Learn to play the game, because again, I say chess as often as I do, Ms. Vita, because I'm thoroughly convinced that this game could do wonders in our community. It has a stigma attached to it, but the stigma is a positive stigma. People generally assume that if you're a chess player, you're a better thinker, you're a smarter person, and that's what we want, particularly for our children. We want the world to think of them as being smarter and more worthy, and their lives more valuable. And we ourselves want to think of ourselves as being more valuable and more worthy. And so, when you can add things in your day-to-day life that can, add more worth and value, even if it's just your perception alone, then we need to do that. We need to apply all things that are positive and will assist us in becoming better human beings. And help us in knowing how to love one another in a better fashion. And so I use the game also to engage young people in conversations that ordinarily they may not have. The conversations may relate to who are the kings and queens in your families, who are the kings and queens in this community, who are the kings and queens on the planet Earth. Who are the pawns, who are the knights, who are so we reference the pieces to everyday life and everyday occurrences and everyday people in life. And so ultimately, when you start having these conversations, you're building relationships, with people. And when you are able to build relationships with people, then there again, that's a great opportunity to spread love via the relationship.
Okay. So, what kind of things are you specifically doing in the community with the chess program?
I teach. At a number of schools in my specific community, particularly my specific zip code, which is 53206. 53206, I might add, is considered to be the number one most disenfranchised neighborhood in all of America when it comes to black male incarceration. So it is a well-known fact that in this community alone, this is where the vast majority of black men on a higher density are taken and removed from their homes and incarcerated, and we're perpetuating the penal system, slavery, legal slavery, or legalized slavery here in Wisconsin. And so we have to talk about that a lot. We have to think of that strategically and tactically as a community in terms of how is it that we are going to not avail ourselves as black men, as boys, as people, as women as well, but how do we not avail ourselves to the criminal justice system and just find ourselves so readily detached from our communities and our families, and then put onto these prisons and plantation systems. So, yeah, the system is definitely designed to whereas the enslavement, incarceration, which for me is the same exact thing, benefits a number of people in the society to whereas it's going to happen. There are going to be quote unquote enterprising people in the world who want to take advantage of other people, and what they're taking advantage of holistically is our ignorance, our inability to comprehend Western culture, our illiteracy, and so that in fact is how we are allowing ourselves to be placing ourselves actually in the hands of others by not taking full advantage of the weapons that are available to us that would put a lot of this, not all, but a lot of this negativity, a lot of the violence, particularly a lot of the inner violence, blacks amongst blacks, it would put a lot of that at bay. It would eliminate a whole lot of that. Literacy is a proven fact. It's not just data to support that. My grandmother's common sense. My grandmother's mother would, support that. It's just common sense. So by not being as literate as we are supposed to be, as even the scriptures employ that we are, by not having the certain knowledge that we have in order to make our lives better lives, in addition to a system that is designed against us, we're suffering. We're suffering greatly. So I'm using this game again to make all of these and much more issues come to the table. I mean, chess is kind of like the magnet, but at the end of the day, the goal is to enhance critical thinking skills, enhance cognition, and again, have those real important conversations in life that helps a child, in particular, to better prepare them to navigate what I feel is a negative situation. But hey, you're gonna have to make the best of it. Everyone's been dealt this hand, and we're gonna have to make the best of it. And yes, there is a way out. Yes, there is a brighter future if we apply certain known rules and principles to our everyday life.
Okay, Brother Quan, I got another question for you. Now, you've been doing this chess academic since 1995, yes. Right? Million Man March?
Yes, that's what motivated me initially. That's when I brought my first chessboard down at the 27th Center Street Library. Was actually 96, so right directly after the Million Man March in 95. I think it was in February, Black History Month. I went to the library and brought my first chessboards to the community.
So it's now 2016.
Yes.
How many children, parents, community members you think you done worked with and affected change?
Yeah. I'm sure I've taught well over, in that period of time, that's 20 years, right?
Yes,
exactly.
It is.
So I'd say on average, I can, on a good year, teach between 500 and 1,000 young people with the connections that I have in the community and in the school systems and in the park systems. A lot of times I'll just go out and just set up the boards. So I'd round it off at 10,000. I'd say I've easily taught 10,000 young people how to play the game of chess. Now, playing the game of chess is only one aspect of what it is that I actually do. So to answer the question in terms of the impact, because teaching you to play chess is only one part of my getting you to understand why chess is important, or applying chess. Learning how to play is different from actually applying it to your everyday life. Well, I don't know. I don't have the data on those statistics, but I will say that seldom, if ever, has a prior student of mine walked up to me, or have I even heard of being involved in a really profoundly negative situation that involved violence, or anything of that nature. So I can't say that any student that I know personally that I've taught. I'm not saying that it hasn't occurred. I'm probably sure it has, because I haven't kept up with all those students, but I just haven't heard of anything. So I'm kind of proud to say that I would tend to think that the way I teach chess and the way I try to get my students to apply chess, that it has made a tremendous difference in their lives. And every student that has, that I've asked, or some have even volunteered to tell me that specifically, yeah, what you told me in class about chess and its relationship, for example, to in checkmate, meaning inmate. When you take the word check out of in checkmate, you're left with the word inmate. And so that's one of the very core lessons in the program, is that a king in chess who is in checkmate and relegated to that one square in life is that person who is in inmate, and the check went to the system, the judge, the jury, and the prosecutors, and that person is left with the inmate portion, where he or she is also confined to a square, which now is a jail cell or a prison. So from the phrase in checkmate, we take check out and we're left with the term inmate, and we can see the correlation directly from the board to real life. And so I make that point in each and every class, and so I'm not aware of any of my students being incarcerated. Correction. Not only, this is very ironic, not only that I hear for the first time that yes, there was a student of mine that was incarcerated. This particular student reached out to find me through your son, Darnell.
Oh, okay.
He ran into Darnell, and they were talking, and my name came up, and Darnell has my number, and so Darnell, called me, texted me, and let me know that this gentleman had just recently been released from prison, and he wanted to get in touch with me. And so so I did recently, I think within the last 3 weeks, speak with this young man, and he also said that during his incarceration, he thought about the things that, some of the things I had taught and talked about in classes, and how if he had applied them more favorably, he perhaps would not be in the situation he's in, being incarcerated. So he did say that. He said, yeah, I thought about if I'd have used what you said, then I wouldn't be in this situation that I'm in. Mm-hmm. So that's absolutely a positive testimony, and it helps me to think that he won't return.
Excellent. Well, Brother Quan, thank you so much for taking the time. Talk about your programs. Talk about how you think you can change the world, how other people can change the world. And we just want to just tell you how proud we are of you, and to continue doing what you're doing in the community.
Each one teach some. That's the new motto.
Excellent.
Thank you.